Hey, 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 another episode of the DNA Show. I'm your host, Anthony, and my man, Donnie, as always. We are the DNA Show. Black and blue running through the DNA, as always. Another new face in the Carolinas. A lot of that's happening right here recently. Got Frank Reich, offense coordinator Thomas Brown, new coaches in between and everywhere else. New players will be coming in here soon with the NFL draft approaching. But on the defensive side, this is always important because one thing I will say, Carolina defense is always going to be right. It's going to be tight. So leading those guys, defensive coordinator, calling the plays, Ejiro Evero, right? So get used to saying that name. Um, he is the new defensive coordinator hire in the Carolinas. So as always, Donnie, right off the back, your thoughts on this hire with what you know and what he's done in the past before we dive a little bit deeper into it. Your thoughts.
Hey, look, man. We've always prided ourselves in the Carolinas of having a strong defense, whether it be a 4-3-3-4. Um, we've always prided ourselves on it. It looks like we got it right here. Defense last year was great under Coach Steve Wilkes, but I think it'll be just as good as not better, if not better, with Coach Evero. But we'll see. But I'm happy about the hire. We paid him big bucks. Did a lot of good things in Denver. And I think it'll be a lot easier to see, succeed in Carolina because we got such young, bright pieces. So I think I'll have a blast with this defense. It was already good with Phil Snow's our DC. It was good with Al Holcomb as our DC. I just can't wait to see what it's going to look like with uh, Ejiro Evero because it looks like we'll go to a 3-4. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Coach Frank Wright said we're going to go to a 3-4 scheme. Sometimes multiple fronts or a multi-phase scheme, if you would. But for the most part, it will be a 3-4. And we got the pieces to run a 3-4, so I'm excited. We should be a very fast defense. Only big question is, can Shaq be this guy in this defense? Can he be this guy?
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, and I'll leave it be, and it hurts me to say it, but Luke Kuechly's worst year, it wasn't even a bad year. He still made All Pro. His worst year was when he was first in a 3-4 defense. It just worries me because we haven't had a consistent 3-4 defense in Carolina. So a lot of 4-3 linebackers struggling to convert into a 3-4. But hey, I'm all optimistic though. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a great hire, actually. Jim Caldwell is my first favorite hire. This is by far my second favorite hire. I don't count the O-line coach, and I don't count the special teams coach. They were already here.
Yeah.
It goes Jim Caldwell, then Ejiro Evero. I'm pretty damn excited to see what he can do with this young defense of ours that we've been waiting to put into the top 10 ranks consistently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah, for sure. Exciting things to come. As Donnie mentioned, we are switching to that 3-4 defense. It seems like that'll be pretty much brand new in Carolina. It happened once before, but for a short period. But that's definitely a new scheme and way of defense for the Carolinas, and also um, I had another point I was going to make. I lost it that quick. um,
Happens.
but yes, the 3-4 change going to be new. Oh, but I was going to say the history of the Carolinas always had a great defense. Started from the very beginning with Sam Mills, led up to Dan Morgan, Julius Peppers, those guys, Will
Kevin
Witherspoon.
Green.
Yes, Kevin Green. Yes, good one. We even had Reggie White for a little while back in those days, um, and leading all the way up to now, led by guys like Burns, Chin, J.C. Horn, Eric Brown, all that. So it's going to be good to see what they can do here. So, but new hire, Mr. Evero. Let's take a little bit deeper dive into his career. All right, so his resume is professional strength. He's got some player experience, at least a little bit. He's a coordinator, with Thomas Brown. He's never been a coordinator before, so it was his first chance here in Carolina, where um, Evero has had some coordinator experience already. He has 15 years total of NFL coaching experience. We'll dive a little bit in there, and Super Bowl champion, just like Mr. Brown, with the same team. And he went to University of California at Davis. He was a safety there. Went undrafted, but ended up being signed by the Oakland Raiders as a safety. So that was in 2004. So right there, he's got defensive mind as a player. Now his coaching career, starting off in the NFL, that is, had a lot of college experience as well, but in the NFL, he's a defensive quality control coach from 2007, 2009 in Tampa Bay. So NFC South experience right there. San Francisco 49ers from 2011 to 2015 he was with those guys. And he always moved up. I've noticed that he's always moved up in the ladder with every team. Quality control coach 2011, 2013 offensive assistant, and then defensive assistant in 2014, 2015. So he's seen the other side of things as well. Green Bay for 2016, he was there with them for a season, defensive quality control coach. LA Rams, where he earned a ring as the safeties coach from 2017 to 2020, and then secondary coach and passing game coordinator for 2021. Um, uh, for the defensive side. And the Broncos, where he pretty much had a stellar year there, 2022. The defensive coordinator, Donnie will talk about that a little more here coming up soon. But they had a great defense, and he was their coordinator there. So, and now he's with us as a defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, and we welcome him with open arms. Now, Donnie's notes, take it away, sir. What do you got for us when it comes to the new hire, Everett?
Biggest thing is his experience. I mean, as a player, and then he's had 15 years in the NFL experience, coaching experience. That's huge to offer to a young team.
Yeah.
If you're still ranked amongst the top 10 of the youngest team, anytime you can get as much experience around you as you can, it's a blessing. It's always a blessing. And I think he's seen a lot, and he's coached a lot of good ball players. And I think him bringing that over to Carolina is huge, man. So he's got 17 years total experience, 15 in the NFL. So, I mean, it didn't take him long to get to the NFL. His Broncos defense, though, one that I just talked about, they were a defense that was ranked seventh in the NFL. They only allowed 320 yards total per game, and they were 10th in rushing defense. Talk about stopping run. That's what he wants to do. Big. That's big. That's a big point, especially in the 3-4. Because last time we were in the 3-4, we struggled to stop the run. And we've kind of had a problem stopping the run this year, the last 2 years. Good defense, just a little bit of
Point.
gaps in
Yeah.
our run stopping consistency. And arguably my favorite statistic that I found on him, he is second in opponent third down conversion percentage with 34.1%. That's what we want. We want to get off the field on third down. Guess what we struggled last year with? Getting off the field on third down. Second chance points. Almost equivalent to, offensive rebounds in the NBA. You're giving that team more opportunities to score and extend the drive and wear you out. Defensive 3-and-out percentage, fourth in the league at 37.9. That's, again, third down. Getting off on third down was our biggest thing. I know it's almost the same stat back to back, but I just think that's been a point of emphasis for us. Like you may agree, Anthony. I mean, for some reason it just seems like on third down, man, we struggled.
Yeah.
All year long.
Yeah, that was a big
so
one.
we may have our answer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rushing yards per carry. He was 11th. His defense ranked 11th with 4.26. Through the air, the pass defense was ranked 12th with 210.2 yards per game. And it was 14th in the league in takeaways with 23. Not bad at all. Anytime you get in that 15 and under rank, that's pretty damn good considering there's 32 teams in the NFL. My math isn't the best, but that's a solid defense, especially with not as many. I mean, I don't think they lost Chubb. He did that with the loss of Chubb. I mean, he has a young corner, kind of like we have with J.C. Horn. I think J.C. Horn is better than Patrick Surtain. Just saying. He's got more pieces to work. Just imagine what happens when he puts together let me go over this and I'll get in there. I'm getting all excited comparing our defenses. When he was with the Rams, they were tied third for interceptions, but 19. And most interesting thing is 10 different players who had picks out of the 19.
Mm,
So that's pretty damn impressive. Seems like a lot of those guys are getting the scheme, they're getting their assignments, and they know kind of their assignments, so they know where to play, and they're getting to the ball. That's what we want. We want to lead the league in takeaways. That's every defensive coordinator dreams. Every defense's dream is to be amongst the top at the table with the takeaways. So I'm excited to see what this will do for our secondary. Most importantly, we've been kind of worried about our secondary outside of Jason Horn. Got some gaps. We do keep C.J. Henderson. Be a big time ordeal to see how he does in this game as well. Hopefully, we'll see more of a ball hawking capability from him in this scheme as well. So that's about all I got for Coach Evero. Yeah, I think that's about it I got for him. Unless I missed something. Yeah, that's it for me.
all right, there you got Donnie's notes for the new hire, Mr. Evero. There. Um, yeah, I saw a lot of good things that you bring up there, man. With the third down conversions, getting teams off the field on third down. Yeah, that is number one concern for me as well. We were always on the field for a while, but then again, sometimes we were in bad position because of the
Right.
offensive turnovers, especially the year before last. Um, and that is a really good stat you brought up there with the what was it, 10 different players with at least an interception, 9 or 10
Correct.
different players for at least one interception. That means everybody's flying to the ball, everybody's involved. The working pieces that it just of course I don't see film in front of me and I'm not watching, but just from that stat I can picture organized chaos. That's what they always called the Baltimore Ravens famous defense. It was organized chaos. There's so many things, so many moving parts that it was like, oh my gosh, so much is happening. Quarterbacks couldn't read it, and boom, they throw a pick. They just didn't know where to throw it, or either to get sacked or they end up throwing a pick. So that many different guys with at least one pick, very impressive. Um, I think in total, I'd have to go back and look, but in total, if you checked off the list of each person that had an interception for the Panthers last year, we may have four that got at least one pick. Yeah,
Didn't have a lot.
yeah, didn't have a lot. So you're talking double, more than double that. So there's 11 guys on defense. 10 of them got a pick throughout the year. So very good. I mean, you got to think about. Well, I mean, some of them probably were like there's probably three corners instead of two. You know, but still, that means someone's coming in. Your nickel got an interception, or there was a substitution at safety and they got an interception. Because more likely it probably wasn't your D tackle. Or it could have been. So I think Derek Brown may have had one this year, or last year, or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
I think one fell into his arms one time. So, um, but yeah, he led his one shot at defensive coordinator. It led those guys to NFL best, as you could say, or one of the best in every category that you can pull up. Um, so I think he's going to work out very well for the Panthers. Um, a great scheme, and I know they trust these players to be 3-4. They looked at the roster, took a deep dive into it, and said, "Will 3-4 work?" And they decided, yeah, a 3-4 will work with what these guys can do. Because you never just take players and just say, we're going to go 3-4 because the scheme of 3-4 just works. It just works. Now you see what you got, what they can do best, and then you say, you know what, with what he can do, what he can do, what he can do, all these guys, let's do a 3-4 because we're going to take their strengths and multiply it times 10. And a 3-4 is what works with these guys. As you can see, Frankie Louvu just isn't your typical linebacker. He can rush the ball, get back. Actually, they lead the league in tackles for loss, I believe. Is that right? And usually,
I think so.
yeah. and he would get down sometimes. He'd get down or he'd stand up, and he was still able to do that. So um, Brian Burns, I think, is with his speed. He's not the J.J. Watt type defensive end, but he's more speed and finesse, and it'll work for him too. There's been a lot of talk about Jeremy Chin coming down, playing that linebacker position, and we have a little bit of depth at safety. So Chandler and guys like that could jump in at safety while he comes down for some plays. He did very well 2 years ago when he would fill in the box. He's basically another linebacker. So probably our best. I hate to, the love for Mike Mentor is fantastic in the Carolinas, but he might be our best strong safety of all time, Mr. Jeremy Chin, to the point where he can play free and strong. And trust me, those are two different positions. Um, and two different responsibilities, and he can do both, and he can play linebacker. Shit, I got so much faith in him. I can see him at D tackle doing well. If you see this guy in person, Jeremy Chin is just a monster of a guy. He
He
got big.
is
He's just big neck, big,
big traps.
big chest. He's probably got big Peter. Who knows? Um, good for him. I don't know what that's like. So,
But there's so many there's so many factors that this scheme benefits. If you look at
right,
a wild card now, listen, I know this is very uncommon in amongst us Panthers fans because we didn't see it much this year. Imagine Amari Barnum, who ran a
mm,
4-3 in this scheme, who was a
right,
big fella, standing up,
mm,
playing 3-4, edge on the edge out there playing outside linebacker in this scheme. Good thing is we have so much versatility on this team. Um,
right,
Especially Frankie Louvu. Frankie Louvu can play in a 4-3, standing up. He can play in a 3-4.
mm,
I guarantee you, Frankie Louvu can put his hand in the dirt and rush the passer. He's that damn good.
right.
The biggest. I mean, like I said, it helps us out tremendously in every spot, though, man. I mean, you look at we have already talked about Chin. I just hope Shaq can thrive in this role, man. 3-4 it can make or break that middle linebacker, man. It's tough. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Shaq, all eyes are on him. He just got extended as recording as a video for another 2 years, and yeah, the seat is not just hot, but it's on fire for him.
right.
And I'll give him 2 years because so many things have changed. Um, I'll give you this year, and it better be a solid one. You don't have to go Pro Bowl or anything, but I gotta say, okay, I see that he's improved, and this is working for him. In the following year, if he's not pretty much almost have a career year, I think he's got to go, and that spells
Just
that's Geo. All right. Um.
just I'm excited though, man, because the versatility of defense. We've been talking about it, and I think
right.
from what he's done out there in Denver to what he could bring to Carolina, man, it could be a special type thing, man. Derek Brown is going to get benefited tremendously, especially when we pair him up with a nice running dog with him, have a nice little partner in crime,
Right.
in the trenches. This could be big, man. I'm very excited. Like I said, it's my second favorite hire this entire offseason. No offense to Coach Frank Wright. I'm talking about from a coordinator's perspective.
Right.
Um, and like you said, roles like Jim Caldwell and this one. These are just as important because if you have shit coordinators, you're not prepping your particular position group,
Mm,
or excuse me, you're not preparing one side of the ball, or if you're a position coach, you're not preparing the positions for situations to succeed. And this is important. But this guy here, man, I mean, he did it in LA. He's did it in Denver, in a place that I mean, yeah, like they got a secondary, but the fact that he was able to do it even with Bradley Chubb leaving, with a lot of turmoil there, a lot of losing. I mean, their defense kept them in a lot of games. Just quarterback play let them down. So
yeah.
I guarantee you, if they weren't fatigued at times because they're on the field a lot, I guarantee you that defense could probably be in the top 10 and under the
Yeah.
10. So,
I
um,
agree.
a lot to look forward to, man. Big time hire, big time. I can't wait to see how Brian Burns does in this 3-4. He was 3-4 coming out of college. Um, can't wait to see what we can do with Frankie Louvu. Chin is going to be an excellent player to watch. He's one of my favorite players. I can't wait to see what he does. And most importantly, I want to see how it affects our secondary as well. But
Right.
great great all around hire, man. We're getting a younger guy in here. He's only 42. He's got a ton of experience, and he's
Yeah.
been under some of the best in the league. So let's let's see what it brings. I'm confident, man. Young
Yeah.
defense, just oozing with potential. Just need a leader to put them over the top. So
Yeah.
that's what
Right.
we need.
Last thing here, I think Frank Wright mentioned in one of his early press conferences that, and he's talking about new defensive hire here, that everything in your best defenses are all coverage based now in NFL, the way the game's played. So it's all coverage based, and if you're if so by that meaning if your defensive backs and the guys who are mostly in coverage are good, then you're going to be good. And I got a lot of faith in him, especially J.C. Horn. He's my favorite Panther. Man, I think he's top two. I'm not even gonna say three, top two corners in the league. And people's face just melted me saying that. But uh, Jeremy Jeremy Chin, have all the faith in the world in him. I love Xavier Woods and Dante on the hot seat. C.J. Henderson, both of those guys, they really need to thrive in this. Um, but then we bump down, just like you said. Let's bump down to those linebackers. Shaq, you're supposed to be the leader of this, man. You have. There was a thing on Twitter just went a little while. I think Shaq was receiving some heat on Twitter, um, and he gave in and he went back after some fans, and some didn't like him, some took his back and all that stuff. But here's what me and Donnie will have to say, and I think me and Donnie are in agreement here. You've been in the league. How long has you been in the league now, Donnie?
Drafted 2015, so he's been in the league. We're getting close to 10 years.
Almost 10 years. You were under Ron Rivera as a head coach, defensive minded leader. Don't forget
Linebacker, Super Bowl winning linebacker.
Super Bowl winning linebacker, Super Bowl attending coach. Regardless what you think and how the Commanders are doing, Ron Rivera's a great coach. Okay, um, and you learned under the top two greatest linebackers in Panthers history, and that's Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. But you still struggle. I know not everything's your fault because it's 11 on 11. It's not 1 on 11. It's not 1 on 10. Yeah, but we can see, we watch enough, and we know enough to know that hey, it's struggling just a little bit. Now there are some positive things. Leads the league in tackles and stuff like that, or leads the team in tackles. And he's got some stats that help his case, which is why we give him a break at times. But when you learn under someone like Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, the faces of the Carolina Panthers on the defensive side of the ball in the history, you better damn well play like it, or at least come damn close. And just don't think you have. But we're gonna give you 2 years. We're gonna give you 2 more years because you are a Carolina Panther, and we do love you. We love the hell out of you. We want to see nothing but you do. When people say Shaq, we don't want them to think about a basketball player, but want them to think about you, the Carolina Panther. All right. So, and that's it, and that's all. So, but let's see, man. That's not about Shaq. I went on a little Shaq rant there. But this guy
Got
is
to be
gonna be,
said.
yeah, he's gonna be calling the plays. It's up to you, man. He knows what he's doing. I know you know what you're doing too. So you guys come together. Let's have a hell of a career. And some other guys too, Dante Jackson as well. Same goes for Dante. Same goes for him. He's supposed to be the leader in this. Not even JC. Dante's supposed to be the leader of these D backs. So he's the veteran out of that core, out of all the DBs. Dante Jackson's the veteran. So he goes out there and he talks. They say he's the biggest talker on the team, but you're gonna talk that talk. You got to walk that walk. So um, it's time. So and it is time with the new coordinator. So gavel hits the desk as always, Donnie, and I'm asking for Donnie's final opinion. Uh, what do you think about the hire? Yes or no? And what do you see him doing in the Carolinas? What we just said. We looked at his resume. You took your own notes. You saw what he's done in different places like Denver and Los Angeles. He's now here in the Carolinas. Calling the defensive plays, organizing the defense for the Carolina Panthers. Good hire, yes or no? And what do you see him doing here for the Carolina Panthers?
I give the higher, or excuse me, I give the higher an A, and far as my expectations for this defense, I expect them to be even better than the Broncos, just because there's so many young pieces who had to start from day one. Jeremy Chin had to start from day one. J.C. Horn started from day one. They weren't groomed starters. Derek Brown started day one. Wonderful situation. Brian Burns day one. So they're still young, but they're seasoned veterans already. They play some tough football and they've been groomed well. But I think this guy is going to be the one who finally takes the cap off the potential cup and is going to ooze out. Because now, listen, man, if he can do that with Denver, I know he can do it in Carolina, because just 2 seasons ago, prior to Sam Darnold playing bad, I mean, this defense was a championship caliber defense, but it was wasted by a subpar, underperforming offense. So, and our offense is trending in the right direction with us obviously aggressively going up to number one. Listen, everything is going to fall into place. I can feel it. That's why we went out and got a guy like this, and we paid him $9 million. He's good. He's good at what he does, and he's been coached and has learned from some of the best minds in football. And I can just only see that experience come on over to Carolina and finally, again, show what this defense is truly about. Maximize on the strengths. We didn't know what Brian Burns was going to do. He's just sitting in a 4-3, but doing my research and doing how he played in college, I think a 3-4 is what he needs to finally get that boost and to maximize his potential. Derek Brown 3-4 in college. Frankie Luvu was a 3-4 linebacker. Looks like we finally started to get together. So I expect this defense to, play the same as, if not better, than Denver Broncos defense with Ejiro coming over here. So I'm excited.
As I said, you take what your players do best, apply a scheme to that, and the recipe for success as always. So, hey, that's our thoughts on a new hire of the defensive side, the defensive coordinator, Mr. Evero. Welcome to Carolina, man, as always. If you wear that Carolina Panthers on your chest and on your hat, just like on this picture right here in front of me, we support you wholeheartedly. So, best of luck, man. And hey, Charlotte's got some good strip clubs if you want to go check them. No, I'm just kidding. But welcome to Carolina. And hey, we'll see you on the sidelines, especially on that defense. Big shoes to fill as a defensive coordinator in the Carolinas, man. As Donnie mentioned, hey, the history here, especially on the defensive side, big history here. So let's make new names. Let's add more defensive names along that border. Actually, there's no defensive names. There's no defensive names on the Ring of Honor yet, but there will be. Julius Peppers got to be one of them. Luke Kuechly's got to be another one. So I want some more. Thomas Davis. Yes, sir. And plenty more to come. So, hey, man, as always, keep pounding, baby. Keep pounding, baby. Yes, sir. Keep pounding, baby. And don't forget to check us out on all the other social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok. Check us out. And like Donnie said, as always, keep pounding.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, this is Donnie.
And I'm Anthony.
Hey, look, you want a place to go for all your cardiac cast info?
Then we got just a show for you.
This is the Donnie and Anthony Show.
And all Carolina Panthers podcasts. For all your Carolina Panthers info, the Donnie and Anthony Show, the DNA Show, because the black and blue runs through our DNA. Keep pounding.